The beginning of a new year always brings mixed emotions. It gives me time to reflect on the previous year, but also set goals that will challenge myself for the next. This is the time of the year where planning and preparation is key. Being able to control only the things that I can control. From making sure that I'm stocked up on the tackle I need for the year, from hooks, plastics, and everything in between. But now comes the big question, what's next? In 2024, we broke our personal best for largemouth, smallmouth, and spotted bass. At the beginning of the year, we won our first tournament of 2024. And to cap it off, we won the championship that has eluded us the last couple years. With all that being said, again, the big question, what's next? What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. First off, I just want to say Happy New Year. I can't believe 2025 is officially here. 2024 was a wild one, but I'm excited to see what 2025 is going to offer. At the beginning of each year, one of the things that I like to do is set goals for the upcoming year. For me, it gives me a chance to push myself a little bit harder. I like to set myself some smaller goals, but also some larger ones that are going to be hard to obtain. But when you do obtain them, man, it feels so good. As mentioned in the previous video, one really cool change that's coming for the 2025 season for the circuit that I fish, Kayak Fishing Northwest, it used to be divided into 3 states, so Oregon, Washington, Idaho. This year, it's gonna be one organization for all 3 states, 2 events in each state. So one of the goals for me is to fish 5 out of the 6 events. Now I'm gonna try to fish all 6 of them, but my goal at the end of the day is to fish 5 of them. Which 5, we're gonna have to figure that out, but that is one of my goals. I've been fortunate enough to win 2 tour events in the last 3 years fishing the Oregon chapter of Kayak Fishing Northwest. So one of my goals going into the new year is to win one of the Kayak Fishing Northwest tour events. Now this one's gonna be definitely different, you know, fishing against guys in their backyards, people that I don't typically get to fish the entire year, and there's a lot of sticks in the Pacific Northwest, so winning one of those is going to be real special. With the new format, one of the things that's going to be hard to do is to stay consistent throughout the year, but I'm hoping to be consistent enough to win Kayak Fishing Northwest AOY. That is my next goal. I was fortunate enough my rookie season to win the OKBF AOY, so my goal is to also win that Kayak Fishing Northwest Angler of the Year. That's going to be a big one. If I can knock that off, I mean, that just honestly mean a whole bunch. As with any other year, I think the goal is to always break a personal best. Fortunately enough, I was able to do that in 2024 with all 3 species, which still blows my mind, but I'm hoping to do that again in 2025. It's gonna be tough. 7-pound spot is definitely gonna be one that is going to be hard to beat, but you know, we're gonna give it all. We're not gonna force it. If it does happen, I'm gonna be stoked, but it's always a goal every year. One of the goals that I was not able to accomplish last year was to qualify for the Bass Nation Kayak Championship. That is one thing that I'm gonna try again this year. It sounds like the California Bass Nation is gonna do another wild card qualifier, and my goal is to go fish that and hopefully make the Bass Nation Kayak Championship. Unfortunately, I can't fish the first Bass Nation Kayak Series event at Lake Havasu, Arizona. I already have a trip planned, which I'm super bummed about. That would have been 2 opportunities to qualify, but you know, we're just gonna have to make the best out of it, out of that one event that California does. From a YouTube perspective, I think the goal for this year is to try to hit 5,000 subscribers on this channel. I think that's one of the things that I'm gonna try to push for. You know, it's not obviously a huge number, but I feel like it's one that is definitely attainable, and I'm definitely gonna try my best to work at it. And finally, another personal goal is to get my bachelor's degree in marketing at the end of this summer. I'm super excited to get that done. And I know it's something that's gonna happen, but it's definitely still a goal nonetheless until it gets done. Talking about goals is something that I always like to discuss with everyone, so drop a comment below. Let me know what goals you guys have for 2025. I'm honestly curious what they are. They're gonna line up similar to what I have, or is it gonna be something completely different? Now let's talk about plans and scheduling for the 2025 season. There's a lot of things coming down the pipeline. Obviously the kayak build, which is gonna start soon once it gets here. We got parts laying around in the garage, more parts that's on this way. It's gonna be a fun one. I'm excited to share that with you guys, kind of show you guys the things that I'm gonna be changing this year, the reasons why I'm doing it. I preach this every time. The things that I do to my kayak is obviously purposeful. I don't throw things on there that I don't plan on using pretty much every single day on the water. So hopefully some things that I do to it, I can share with you guys that you can implement to your kayak or even your next kayak down the road. For anybody that's local to me, one of the things that's coming up here shortly is the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show and the Washington Sportsman Show. I'm excited to share that I'll be doing a few seminars at the Washington Sportsman Show. So they're gonna have a warm water tank that I'm gonna be doing a couple seminars on for largemouth and smallmouth, and also gonna have a seminar in the theater over there at the Washington Sportsman Show. At the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland, Oregon, I have one seminar in the theater on Saturday, so make sure you guys come out if you're local. We're gonna be talking bass fishing, some of my tips, tricks, and everything in between. I'm gonna have giveaway stuff for the people that attend from some of the partners that I have. It's gonna be a fun time. For both shows, I'm gonna be there all 5 days at both of them. So if you guys are around, stop by, hit me up. Let's chat, let's hang out. Okay, let's talk about tournament schedule for the 2025 season. I got a list here of everything that I plan on fishing as of right now. Now there's one of them that I don't have a date for, but we're gonna go through it real quick. Starting in April, which is still super far away, our first tournament is gonna be at 10 Mile Lake for the KFNW Tour Event 1. That's gonna be a fun one. It's gonna be full pre-spawn, and if we get some warm weather, they should be moving up to go spawn. So I'm excited for that one. 10 Mile is a place that I really like to fish. Not last year, but the year before, we had an event there that I got second place at, and I had 2 key bites that just unbuttoned, and that was the difference between getting first place and second. So you can definitely say that I'm going there to seek redemption. Next, we have our season opener in Oregon. This one's always a fun event. I love doing it. This is a low entry event that us who have a little bit more experience gets partnered up with someone who is a beginner or have less experience. We get to go out on the water, we're paired up as teams, and we get to teach them the ways of kayak fishing tournaments. It's always a fun one, always a great way to meet new people, and that's one that's gonna be fun, and that's at Dorena Lake, and that is May 10th. At the end of the month, we have 2 events in one day. On the 31st of May, we have Tour Event 2 for Kayak Fishing Northwest, and it's also combined with the Native Watercraft No Limit Big Bass Power Hour. So that's gonna be a fun one. There's always a massive turnout for that because any fish, any bite could also be a $1,000 fish for one of those hours. That's gonna be an exciting event. We're gonna probably have all 3 phases of the spawn, and there's gonna be opportunities for a little bit of everywhere. It's gonna be so spread out, that event. During that time of the year, I don't think the fish are gonna be super grouped up. So honestly, anybody can go down any bank and probably catch a big one. Then in June, we go back to Idaho at Dworshak Reservoir, where we recently won the Kayak Fishing Northwest Kayak Bass Classic. That's gonna be a 2-day event. So the dates on that is June 20th to the 21st. It's gonna be a completely time of the year, obviously. The water level is gonna be completely different. I'm assuming that this fish are gonna be completely post-spawn by that time. But that's gonna be really fun just for the fact that it's a different time of year. Those fish are gonna be acting completely different. They're gonna be located in different places. I'm gonna have a bunch of fun, again, traveling 5, 10, 15 miles up and down that lake, trying to figure out what those fish are doing. It's so cool. It's such a beautiful scenery. Hopefully I don't hit a deer this time because that really sucked last year. Now, I don't have a date for this yet, but somewhere in the schedule, we should have the California Bass Nation Wildcard event. Sounds like that's gonna happen again, and obviously that's gonna be my one chance to go qualify for the Bass Nation Kayak Championship. But in July, we go up to Washington at Lake Whatcom, a lake that I've never been to before. I've heard things about it, but honestly, I've never seen it in person, so that's gonna be a fun one. I do enjoy going to new places and trying to break it down. We're definitely gonna spend a couple days pre-fishing up there and trying to figure it out. It sounds like mostly smallmouth is in that lake, and it's gonna be a fun one. Definitely gonna be a more post-spawn event. I'm not quite sure. I would assume they're gonna be really pushing into the summer pattern. Hopefully not much of a post-spawn, the summer transition funk, but we'll see. Then in August, we go back to the Willamette River, which is really close to home here in Oregon. Actually, in 2022, I won an event there in August, but the river has changed so much in the last couple of years. I'm honestly not sure what's gonna happen. There's gonna be a lot of recreational people out there, a lot of wakeboard boats. So there's gonna be a lot of challenges, and yeah, we'll see what happens. A couple weeks after the Willamette event, we go back down to California for the West Coast Kayak Championship, one of my favorite events of the year. Me and a bunch of the boys up from the Pacific Northwest all go down there, have a house, and honestly it feels like a bachelor party every single time. But it's always fun to fish against all the other kayak anglers on the West Coast, so I'm super excited for that one. Then in September, we go back to Idaho for CJ Strike Reservoir, a place that I have never been to. I don't really honestly know much about it, so obviously gonna do my research at a time. That's one thing that I definitely want to do more this year, is kind of share with you guys kind of my tips and tricks for breaking down a body of water before even getting there. There's a lot of background research that I personally do at home before I go see the lake. So there's a lot of things that I do have planned to make videos on as we get moving into the season. The CJ Strike's gonna be the last tour event of the year that will determine Angler of the Year, but also we have one event left. The last last tournament on my schedule is the Kayak Fishing Northwest Kayak Bass Classic. It's a championship for us in the Pacific Northwest, and that's going to be at Potholes Reservoir in Washington, October 11th and 12th. October 11th and 12th, that's going to be the dates for it. So it's a 2-dayer. Potholes is a place that I love to fish. I've never fished it in October, but I fished it plenty of times, kind of like that late summer around Labor Day weekend, so August, September. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be definitely a different challenge. It's a pretty big lake. There's a lot of different structure in it. And the really cool thing about that lake is that there's a lot of sand dunes in there that creates obviously structure and cover for this fish to navigate, set up at, and yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. But yeah, that's gonna be the tournament schedule for the 2025 season. I'm super excited to get that going. Obviously, we have a bunch of other things coming down the pipeline, like ICAST. Should be going to ICAST again in 2025, which is one of my favorite times. Not a big fan of the humidity in Florida, but it's always fun to see everybody in the industry. But as you guys can see from behind me, there's been some changes in the garage. My Snake River Loggers trailer is officially sold. So shout out to Brett. He drove up here from Arizona to come pick up the trailer. So it is gone. Now we got to get ready for our new trailer. I'm excited to share that with you guys when the time comes. Like I said before, there's a lot of things coming down the pipeline that I can't share with you guys just yet, but definitely will when the time comes. And with that, I'm just super excited to get the season started. Thank you to everyone who stayed to watch the end of the video. And for those of you that are still watching, I'm gonna have a giveaway coming up real soon. As always, I appreciate you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.